Into the Conor McGregor Khabib fight. We're gonna get into what happened after that. We're gonna get into all of that. Just let's run through some of the other fights that happened first. We only gonna run through the pay-per-view fights, not the preliminaries. All right. I won't talk about the preliminaries. I didn't even watch most of the preliminaries, so I won't even stun on that. Visual was popping, sir. Salute, thank you, sir. I said for the preliminaries, it was too many fights and a bunch of them I didn't catch, so I can't sit here and go through that. Um, Most of the preliminaries that I did see. Salute pancakes. Pause. Most of the excuse me, I'm sick. Pardon me. I couldn't even drink tonight. I want to drink. I want to sit back, drink, and enjoy this fucking this card and everything, man. I couldn't even do it. I ain't feeling good. So yeah, there was in the prelims. The prelims was on Fox Sports One. If you guys didn't see it, in the last few years, every time I can remember, the UFC's the preliminaries are normally free on Fox Sports One. Now UFC has a deal with ESPN, so I'm not sure if they how long you will be seeing the preliminary fights on Fox Sports, Fox Sports One. Fucking ESPN, ESPN got that ESPN Plus app, so now like they have a deal with Top Rank Boxing, and now to see a lot of their fights, you gotta have that ESPN app. You have to subscribe to it. It's a subscription based app. So I'm wondering if that's something that they're gonna try to do with this MMA move that they're trying to pull. Is that gonna be a part of the whole thing just in general, or is that something separate? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? All I know is that ESPN came up with a pretty big deal for them dudes, so they good money. But most of the fights that happened on FS1, the prelims ended in knockouts. So I'll tell you that. Again, I'm not gonna go through all those fights. I didn't watch all of them from beginning to end. Some of them I caught pieces of the round. Some of them I really just caught the end of it. So we won't go through that. We'll start off with the Sergio Pettis, the younger Pettis brother. We'll start off with that fight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was 6 fights on the pay-per-view. So we'll start off with that fight first. Give me 1 second. Well, that shit is just acting up. Fuck it. I was trying to send it out, send the link out, but I ain't gonna be able to do it. Let's start off with the Sergio Pettis fight. If you don't know who Sergio Pettis is, that's the younger brother. That's uh they fight at two different weight class. He went up against a Familiar. Honestly speaking, I I didn't think this fight was gonna fully end up the way it did with Familiar. I knew Familiar is the kind of guy who rather grapple, rather be on the ground, rather use jiu-jitsu in these fights. And both the Pettis brothers, they're more athletic guys. A lot of hand speed, foot speed, like to move around. Most of the time, they rather be on their feet. Um, Both these guys can be hit if you catch up to them. And it seemed like that's pretty much what was happening with Familiar in this fight. Honestly speaking, I think that there was probably only one round in that first fight that you can sit there and have some sort of argument about. The rest of the rounds, I thought overall was dominated by Familiar. I don't even think some of them were even close, to be honest. I know some people overall, if you're sitting there watching, I know a lot of people would upset at it, but if you never seen Familiar fight before, then you know this how he fights. So if you was expecting a stand up all out brawl like that, then you came for the wrong spot. But I understand anytime you hear one of the Pettis brothers are fighting, you're expecting to see more stand up and more action in the fight. But that isn't gonna happen. When you got a guy as great as Familiar is, or guys of that nature, like you can't expect to have that sort of fight. Uh, Excuse me. Um, Sergio Pettis went in there 17-4, and Jassier Familia went in there 22-5. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, their fight stats aren't that far off. But if you're looking at what the submissions are and stuff like that, then of course, like there's no way you thought this was gonna be a stand-up fight. Overall, man, like I said, Familia ends up getting the fight. He won the fight. They went the distance all 3 rounds. But like I was telling everybody, like I thought it was clear he won the fight, but I saw a lot of people upset because, especially in the third round, you gotta understand them sort of fights. In the third round, Familia's on Pettis' back the whole time, but he had like a body triangle on him. He was squeezing the shit out of him, man. I ain't gonna lie. There was times that I thought he was gonna end up catching that neck for real on Pettis. Salute to Pettis for that, to be able to hold up to that body lock like that. And this dude is working on you, pounding on you. The whole time Pettis is on his feet, which to me was the best thing he could have did. Had he thrown himself on the floor at some point trying to get more from him or try to ran, some people were suggesting that he flipped him, stuff like that. You understand, when that body triangle is as hard on there as it was, he had to sink to a point. It was like, regardless what he did, he was going to always be in control. So Pettis stood the whole time on his feet against the gate. What I didn't understand is why he didn't try to get him towards the pole and then jump back a few times. Had he done that, to me, that would have been the best move to try to get him off. That didn't happen. Familia won, going the distance. The girls come up to fight. You have Waterson versus Herring. Waterson is what they call the karate hottie. You know, she is a good looking lady, but she surprised me in the sense, not that I wasn't surprised by the kind of fighter she is. I was surprised. I thought excuse me, it was Michelle Waterson versus Felice Herring. Herring is a very strong fighter. She's tall, she's strong. So I knew that Waterson was gonna have a hard time with her, especially if they stood on the feet. But Waterson very intelligently moved her feet plenty of times. Herring being a predator was up on her, applying pressure and all of that. But you got to give Waterson credit. And that first round, honestly speaking, I thought that the movement was the key to all of it, because because even while she was moving, she was landing strikes, but it wasn't like Herring. Herring was landing in all 3 rounds. Realistically, Herring was landing the biggest shots. That shouldn't be a surprise, though. I guess we all expected that from her. Where I was surprised was Waterson, like in the second round, that hip toss that she did to get Herring on her back and then continue to work from there, and then to see how long she was able to control her a few times up against the cage. Well, in that second round before she hip tossed her, her back was originally against the fence. She spun around, was able to manhandle her, and then she hit through her. And what I took from that, especially for all 3 rounds, was Waterson was a lot stronger than I expected. She really was. Now, I won't lie, I thought she was gonna lose the fight. I thought Herring was gonna win, but that's not what happened. The fight went the distance and Waterson won, and deservedly so. I thought it was obvious that she won too. In the third round, man, like she was landing some big strikes, especially on the ground and pound, because Herring was on a. What happened when she went for a takedown? Herring ended up on top of her, but from her back, Waterson was landing a lot of elbows, was cutting her open. You know, she was doing a hell of a job from her back. I was surprised to see that, especially again, Herring is so strong. She's big and strong. So for her to be doing that, I was like, wow, I was shocked by that. So, I got to give her credit. Waterson ended up winning that in 3. And again, I thought it was clear. Third fight. Third fight was Derek Lewis versus Volkov. Excuse me. Yeah, Derek Lewis versus Alexander Volkov. Now, this was another fight that I thought, well, pretty much I picked wrong, but not from lack of knowledge. You understand? Because one thing about Derek Lewis is he's a big, strong guy, knockout power. We know this already. But Volkov was a lot stronger than me. Flipper world, uneligible. Salute Flipper world. Um, just sitting there off paper and off my knowledge of him. I'm thinking Volkov, especially as big and tall as he was, I knew he was gonna be able to keep the distance when he wanted to. In this fight, he had the pressure on. He landed a lot of big shots from on Lewis and took some big shots from Lewis. What's good, my man? Lost some. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He did lose. We're gonna get into that. I'm just giving really quick caps of this fight. And excuse me too, man. I got a cold, everybody. So just relax. But like I said, man, after that first round, Lewis was gassed out, which was no shock because he already had said before the fight he was trying to end the fight in the first round because he already know what's his history of tiring out and stuff like that. So Volkov was using. I thought sometimes he gave up his height, the height advantage, but for the most part, he was using it. He landed some big body shots that I thought was dope, and I had him winning all three rounds to the end. Where out of nowhere, man, Lewis dropped him, then got on top of him and finished the fight off. It was definitely an exciting finish. Wasn't a finish. I knew that he could salute to Ellie's salute, man. But I already knew that he was capable of beating him. That Volkov was capable of winning. I knew he was capable of being a lot more technical than Lewis. Lewis would be the stronger guy. Lewis was winging shots. You already know, putting everything he can into one punch, and really didn't. At the end of the day, he threw a Hail Mary, man, and he got it. I thought Lewis was about to. Yeah, he got to me. He was losing all three rounds up to the point where he knocked him out. And like I say, he dropped him first, then got on top of him, ground and pound real quick. They stopped the fight. It was an exciting moment, and it was a good look for Lewis just to be able to show resilience, to show heart, not to give up, and having faith in his power. My thing is, Joe Rogan asked him after the fight, "Yo, man, do you think you're ready for a title shot?" And I respect what he said. He was like, "Nah, he ain't ready for a title shot because he don't have enough in the gas tank," and it's the truth. In my opinion, he would overpower DC. He might overpower a few guys, but all these guys will outwork him and tire him out and get him the fuck up out of there. You know, again, Volkov was doing that and got caught. It happens. You know what I'm saying? So salute to them. Like I said, that KO happened in the third round for the record. For anybody who's paying attention. Now, Saint Pre, is that how you say? I don't know if that's how you say it. Saint Pre versus Reyes. Honestly speaking, I thought this was one of the best, like, on paper matchups that they had for this card. Both these guys, if you look at their body style, if you look at their fight style, everything to me was like an identical match for these guys. I won't lie. I felt like Reyes was clearly ahead in this fight. I really thought that Reyes was imposing his will on him. There was times that it seemed like Saint Croix was gonna Saint Croix. Am I saying that right? I think so. I thought there was times that he was gonna start taking charge because he had one or two moments there in every round that I'm like, okay, it looked like he's gonna change the tide and really turn this shit up. And that's not what happened. Reyes up from out the gate was up on him. The crazy part was, and I wonder how they're gonna officially call this, was at the end of the third round on the motherfucking right when the bell was sounding, Reyes dropped Saint Croix. Or Saint Prue. I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to be saying that. But he dropped him at the bell. So the fight was officially over, but he dropped him at the bell. He was out. He was out. So I don't remember off the top of my head. I think the announcer called it a KO. I'm not 100% sure. Even if they went to the scorecards, I thought Reyes won, and I thought it was obvious that he won. But I'm interested to see how that happened because I didn't pay attention after that. Like, I didn't see when they announced the actual winner. I saw after he got dropped. I saw all the shit. I saw, the regular stuff that happens after that. I went to the bathroom, so I didn't know exactly how they ruled it. But I'm curious to see how they're gonna rule that. If anybody knows how it got ruled by now, and I don't have to go looking for it, feel free to go in the comment section and let us know what was the official ruling on that, or do we have to wait for tomorrow to find out what the official ruling on that? But that's weird though. I don't think I've ever seen that in MMA. I've seen guys get dropped with 2 or 3 seconds left in a boxing fight. I don't think I've ever seen that in MMA. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna score that. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick just to see how. As of right now, it shows that it's ruled as a decision. So again, I don't know if they're gonna change that. I guess we'll find out in the coming days. But as of right now, it's ruled a 3-round decision in favor of Dominic Reyes. So we'll see. For Reyes, he's 10-0. For Saint again, I don't want to keep messing up his name, so I'll say OSP. He's 23-12. But it was just crazy that in those amount of fights, how similar their styles were. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of weird. But at the end of the day, salute to Reyes for the performance he put on. And like I said, I think they should turn that into a KO for him because, he deserved it at the end of the day. Next fight was the co-main event, I guess you would want to call it. That was Anthony Pettis against Tony Ferguson. It is a fight that I've been waiting for. When it got announced, I was very excited for it. It doesn't. Pettis fights to me don't disappoint for the most part. You're gonna get excitement. You're gonna get athleticism. You're gonna get we seen Pettis bounce off gates and punch guys and all kind of crazy shit. So that's why I'm always interested to see I'm always interested to watch a Pettis fight. This is the older Pettis for everybody know. This is the more known Pettis. This is Anthony Pettis. So Ferguson comes into the fight 24-3. Pettis comes into the fight 21-8. I won't lie. From the beginning, Ferguson seemed kind of weird to me. I don't know if any of you guys picked that up. He kind of seemed to me like I don't know, I don't know if it was off balance or what it was. I know he's coming off a knee surgery, I think it was. Something with his leg. He's coming off surgery. I didn't notice, but the announcer said that apparently he chose not to do physical therapy and decided to do his own form of physical therapy, which is fucking dangerous. Like, especially for an athlete of his caliber, you might want to go with the professionals on this to make sure you get it right instead of putting yourself in a space to not only endanger your career but endanger your health being in that ring and somebody fucking comatose you because your legs wasn't completely under you and you get long-term damage. Like, the octagon is not to be played with, man. Combat sports in general are not to be played with. Like, you really are playing with your life out there. So I think that was a risky decision for Ferguson to do. Let me pull this up for a second here. So to me, Ferguson was applying a whole lot of pressure in that first. I think that first round was a little closer. I don't know how you guys had it. I think Ferguson's pressure and everything was a key factor in that situation. And it was crazy how it ended up into the second round because the first round pretty much went somewhat what I expected. Again, Ferguson seemed weird to me, and I already knew if you Pettis, you have to move the way you're moving because you don't want to have to go on the ground with a guy like Ferguson. Ferguson's a big, strong guy as well. And it just me too, but Ferguson, even his fucking legs were looking like toothpicks, man. Like, I don't know, it just seemed weird. He seemed off balance. But he was applying pressure. In that second round, he dropped Tony. He dropped Tony. He had Tony hurt. But Tony too, with them elbows he was catching when everything bust him open above, like more towards the hairline on both sides. And so what was crazy was that the first half of the second round, Pettis was dominating Ferguson. I thought he was going to get Ferguson the fuck out of there. And I got to respect Ferguson because Ferguson stood there, showed heart, tried to fight back. When he seen he was in trouble, he started, he got dropped. He started tumbling around to get away and, try to get some sort of space between him and Pettis. At the end of the day, Pettis was bleeding so much, they end up stopping for the doctor to check out Pettis. And honestly, that hurt Pettis. That hurt Pettis because Ferguson was on the other side of the ring, getting himself back together, getting his legs up under him. And I already knew now Pettis was in for it because he was bleeding from everywhere. They stopped his momentum. He had a lot of momentum going for himself. And he might have finished Ferguson, man. He might have finished him, man. But that little break right there, I thought that really hurt him. And then the remainder of the second round, man, Ferguson was putting the fucking beats on Pettis. I don't think Pettis could see all that blood. I think Pettis was going off heart. I think that if there's anything to take from this fight was that both these guys showed an extremely large heart. Like these dudes was not backing down, refused to quit. Ferguson was on his stool and his people just was calling it, man, because they say he broke his hand. I know how that feels. I broke my hand and have surgery here or punching somebody right in the crown in the head. So I know that feeling, man. When you land that punch, man, well, for me, I felt that shit instantaneously go up to my neck, and my bone came out. So you guys probably can't see it, but I got a scar going across my shit from the surgery from where the bone came out. That's this whole scar that's going up here. So I know what it is to sit there and go through that pain. I don't know what it is because that happened like in a quick melee in a matter of seconds. I don't know what it is to stand and run around in the ring for 5 minutes, fighting a guy, thinking I got him finished. Now I'm cut bleeding. I can barely fucking see. Barely got my wind about me. Barely got my legs under me because this guy just landed bombs on me after that. A guy I thought I finished is now landing bombs on me. I don't know how that feels, and I don't want to know how it feels. I just watch them do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So the corner kept telling Pettis, man, like, yo, we can't let you go back out there, man. We can't let you, if you can't see and your hand is broken and you can't throw punches, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. He gonna go out there and fuck around and risk his whole career and his livelihood, because Ferguson was landing at will at that point. So salute to Ferguson on a win, TKO in the second round. Well, is that second round? Well, no, third round, because he never answered the bell for the third round, right? So I guess you would say third round KO. The corner intelligently stopped that. A lot of times, especially no matter what these combat sports, including football, all these sports, sometimes you got to save players from themselves, man. Sometimes you got to save fighters from themselves because their heart won't let them stay away. They'll tell you everything's fine when everything ain't fucking fine. So salute to Pettis' corner for recognizing all you could do is go out there and potentially let that man, permanently hurt himself. And at the end of the day, if you look at this fight and you Pettis, there's no way you hang your head on this because it was an exciting fight. It was a good fight. People are going to want to see a rematch. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? It was a tough opponent. There's a lot to look up to. This is one of the things where your stock rises. You know what I'm saying? I don't think your stock falls at all after that. And again, it can either go after a rematch or he could, move on and see what's next for him after his hand heal and everything. Me personally, after seeing what I saw and the fact that I like both these fighters very much, I want to see a rematch. Let's see if that happens or not. Especially Ferguson can possibly get that Khabib fight now, or maybe even that McGregor fight now. Who knows? So let's get into the main event, man. All what happened in this fight and what happened after this fucking fight, man. By the way, I want to say too, because I said it. So I lost where I was at. Oh yeah, I had predicted that Ferguson was gonna win this fight. I didn't think it was gonna turn out the way it did. I thought Ferguson was gonna end up submitting him. So I think I had Ferguson submitting him in the second or third round. That was my prediction. You know, it didn't go that way. But pretty much on my predictions, man, I think I did pretty good on my predictions. Um, Khabib versus McGregor. This is the fight everybody was waiting for. There was a lot of shit that happened. If you watched the last few blogs I did on the UFC and this situation, I was very disappointed in UFC. Going forward, I don't know how much more purchases I'm gonna be making with them. I felt it was very distasteful and disrespectful to multiple people for them to be using that whole bus incident that happened at the Barclays Center in their promos the way they did. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Khabib smacked the shit out one. Khabib smacked the shit out of one of Conor McGregor's teammates, who is a fighter also, by the way. So, you know, you got smacked, my man. You had the chance to fight back. I guess he called McGregor. McGregor came with all his peoples, and they attacked a bus full of fighters who were there on a press run, I believe the night before a fight. Yeah, it was the night before the fight. And McGregor and some of his other associates started throwing shit like a hand truck through the window of a bus and ended up injuring some of the fighters. Some of the fighters couldn't even fight that night. One of the female fighters, who's a hell of a fighter herself, she's definitely been having some issues behind it. So I was very upset at UFC because Conor got a slap on the wrist in order for him to get this fight. Make UFC money, make everybody made money off of this, right? But it was fucked up how you just disrespect all these other people by continuously showing this. And then you have McGregor. Like I said, McGregor was out here dry snitching, man. I don't care what you say. He was being disrespectful towards Khabib's family, especially religiously. I'm never cool with people attacking people's religious or religion or race. You know, I'm never cool with that kind of shit. Now I understand some of it is selling the fight, but McGregor was out there really dry snitching out there, talking about potentially Khabib's team having. I don't want to sit here and snitch, so I'm just repeating what he said. He said I'd say Khabib's team, they're trying to say, had ties to some illegal activity, and somebody who was a known criminal was funding them. We'll just say that, and I'll leave it at that. McGregor, every press conference was out here snitching on that, talking about somebody with Khabib was a terrorist. I don't know if that's true. I don't know that situation. But everything he was saying about Khabib's father and all that shit, I thought that was wrong on McGregor. Now I understand, again, you gotta sell the fight, and a piece of it, McGregor was upset that his homeboy got smacked. If any man who gets smacked by another man, like, that's one of the most disrespectful things you could possibly do. So I understand him feeling the way he felt, but at the same time, you don't have to go to the extent to looking into this dude's background so bad that you get in front of cameras and everything, start snitching on him. Like, I don't think that was cool. I thought McGregor's a hell of a fight. There's no taking anything away from McGregor, but going into this fight, I thought Khabib, overall skill wise, was going to be able to beat him and was not afraid of him, not one bit. And that's the key part, because guys like McGregor, guys like Mayweather, guys like the great and someone who's just such a big legend to me, the great Mike Tyson. These guys oftentimes beat their opponent before they even get in the ring. You know, their stature, who they are, what their reputations are. These are all things that put fear into guys. And Khabib wasn't scared one bit and didn't back down. From the opening bell, McGregor started off doing what I if you watched my blog, I already had predicted. McGregor was going to try to cut off the ring and be somewhat aggressive while trying to find his range. And McGregor does that constantly. You know, some people don't see it as being that aggressive, but he is. He's timing you. He's getting his space together. At the same time, he's trying to cut the ring off. He's applying pressure and waiting for you to make a mistake so he can counterpunch you. That is for the bulk of what McGregor does. He also uses a lot of front kicks and front body kicks to try to stall you out when you're trying to lean in and everything. Now, we seen Aldo make a big mistake before while leaning in, rushing in, and getting dropped. And we saw Khabib do that once or twice here, and it was like, wow, that was a huge risk. Uh, First round out the gate, I just saw McGregor shoot across, come out there, pop Khabib a few times. Really don't know how good those things landed, but he did pop him a few times. And then I just felt like Khabib after that just applied the pressure and did what I predicted he was going to do and what we know him to do. He wants to get you to the floor. He wants to ground and pound you. That is his game. You know, it's hard to out wrestle that guy. That guy is strong as hell, very skillful, has a background in grappling that spans from him being a little kid. You know, this is what he does. Now, in the first round, I kind of felt like McGregor didn't want to tire himself out, so he didn't give that big of an effort to get back on his feet. But I was disappointed that he didn't do that. But I understand, you're going to fight this guy for 5 rounds. You don't want to burn yourself out in the first round. But I still thought that was kind of weird that he didn't even... It seemed like he was too comfortable. Like he was just laying there a few times, like dead body style, you know? But again, it takes a lot of energy to fight somebody off like that. If you McGregor, you know, the scouting report on you is that you're gonna fade as the rounds go on. You know what I'm saying? So I understand him not trying to waste that energy to that degree. But then that was more the same in the second round. And the second round was more the same. McGregor did get to his feet and stuff like that, but I'm just like, yo, you were letting this guy fully control you, and it doesn't seem like you giving that much effort to getting up. I don't know if it was the second round that I think he got dropped in that second round. I think it was. I think McGregor got dropped in that second round. But I know you're watching Khabib getting the takedowns. You're watching Khabib, excuse me, completely dominate and control everything that's going on in this fight. Third round comes. I actually thought that in this third round, if there was a round that you can give to McGregor, I think it was that third. I would love to hear what you guys had to say about that. But I thought McGregor landed a lot of strikes. This third round seemed to favor McGregor's style more than it did Khabib. And then we get into the fourth and final round, which, you know, we watched Khabib just dominate McGregor and then choke his ass out. And so I had my prediction was that Khabib would submit McGregor in the third or fourth round. He got him in the fourth, choked him out. I ain't gonna lie. Even when he had him and he was ready to put him out, I'm sitting there looking like McGregor looked defeated. He looked defeated. Excuse me. I know he wasn't happy with how this fight went, but if he did his homework, which I know he did, this was what you had to come to expect from Khabib. He isn't gonna, even though Khabib did at times stand there and rock with him, especially in that third round. They went toe to toe a few times, throwing punches. But if you McGregor, you gotta know that's not something that's gonna last. I know he probably think he got in his head enough that he would get him angry enough to get off his game plan. But Khabib just said, if you watch Khabib, he just seems poised at all times, which goes into what happens next. McGregor taps out. Khabib starts yelling at him while he's on the floor. That's understandable. We've seen that happen plenty of times, and you can understand the frustration and the history between these guys. But then what Khabib did that was out of character, and you know, I definitely wish he did do that. He looked over to the side of the cage. I guess he was walking off, and someone from McGregor's camp said something to him. He jumps over the damn cage, goes into the, I guess you could say, the crowd. It was right there outside the octagon, so I don't know if that was one of his cornermen or not, but it was McGregor's team. Someone from McGregor's team. They start brawling out there. Security's trying to separate them. McGregor's still in the cage. They're checking him out. McGregor starts arguing with somebody, and from behind him, somebody came, jumped over the fence, and they start fighting with McGregor. So the dude who McGregor was first going at it with was in front of him, and this other dude can't climb the gate. Now, whoever that dude was came from the crowd. He wasn't right there. I'm trying to figure out, is that dude part of Khabib's team, or is that just one of Khabib's fans? Because the dude came running from the crowd. Like, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what the hell just happened? So that dude got a few punches off on McGregor. Uh, and then from there, it was just like a free for all. There was brawls. Supposedly, there was fans in the crowd brawling. I can see that happening because I've been at events where shit get out of hand. And actually, you know, the people in the stands who got nothing, no, they're not getting paid to fight, but somehow they end up getting into the brawls too. So they security ends up taking McGregor out. No interview, takes him to the back. Then Khabib is waiting for his interview, waiting for Dana to put his belt on him. And Dana's telling him he ain't putting the belt on him. I'm going to tell you where's my problem with that. And I don't know if you guys heard what I heard, but Dana was telling him, like, yo, if I put that belt on you, they're going to go crazy in here. My thing is, so what? So what? So let me get this straight. Because you saw Dana go over there and was checking on McGregor and making sure McGregor was fine, whatever. Now I understand that's your cash cow right now. But when McGregor does shit, y'all been giving him a pass. Y'all been letting him get away with everything he did. How you go from you disgusted with him for throwing the dolly through the window to now you're smiling, joking with him, shaking his hand, hugging this guy, taking a shot? Did you not see the press conference where McGregor even gave a drink to Dana and all that shit? Dana's all sitting there blushing and turning red and all this shit. Like, so now your guy over here doesn't look that good. You don't want to put the belt on Khabib. Did we forget that we seen Conor jump a fence before, slap a referee, slap an official? What was it, like? One of the dudes he slapped was like the president or vice president of some sort of organization. Mind you, it wasn't even McGregor's fight. It was his homeboy's fight. So all of that is good. Y'all gonna overlook all that shit. But now Khabib can't get his belt put on there because you're gonna talk about all these people gonna go crazy. Listen, do I understand the safety issue? 100% I do. But you don't have these concerns when you letting your cash cow do the fuckery that he does. So why is that cool but not for Khabib? It wasn't cool for Khabib. I am not co-signing or defending what Khabib did. I'm just telling you, for all you people, especially I saw on Twitter, people going in, I thought it was a bad look for Khabib. I was happy for Khabib. I had predicted he was going to win. I was happy for Khabib. I wanted him to bask in his moment. But you got to understand there's a lot of backstory to this shit. And if y'all can use the backstory story for promo for this fight, then can you really be mad at Khabib for this? They're already talking about it, and I hope it don't happen. But he might not be able to get a visa after this shit to fight in the U.S. And that's where I'm fucked up. Because I'm like, damn, Khabib, like, this was your moment, fam. But I understand the anger, especially with all the history. So again, I ask, and I want everybody's opinion on this. You can get in the comment section. It's like, are y'all cool with that? Are y'all cool with Dana and them doing what it is they do or decide to use what they want to use to promote this? But everybody's really upset at Khabib. Like if whatever was said to him was clearly enough to go jump over that. I don't condone it. I wish he wouldn't have did it, but I understand it. And I understand when you got the emotion of it. You just finished beating this dude. And this dude who said all the shit he said about your religion, about your family, about your friends. Like, the emotion gets the best of you. I just really wish Khabib didn't do that, man, because they're gonna try to make an example out of Khabib that they didn't try to do with Conor, which is foul. That's foul. And I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC try to find him and do shit like that too, but they ain't do that to Conor though. So with that said, man, at the end of the day, it was a night of good fights. Like I said, in the prelims, I didn't see everything round for round, but there was knockouts in the prelims. You know, and the Sergio Pettis and Famora for Mia. That went the distance. Waterson and Harang went the distance. Both good. Well, the Harang and the Waterson fight was very good, in my opinion. The ladies, man, salute to the ladies. They was going in. The Volkov and Lewis ended in surprise fashion KO. The the OSP versus Reyes fight. Reyes to me came in there, did his thing. He went. I felt like like that's gonna catapult him. And he ended it well, dropping OSP. And I'm hoping that they do turn that to a KO. It looks better on your record, so on and so forth. I mean, either way, a win is a win, but he ended in knockout fashion. It just was right at the belt. So let's see if they change that. Right now, they got it as a decision. Uh, the Pettis and Ferguson fight was one hell of a fight. Even though they only went second rounds, only went to the second round, almost into the third, right? Because they stopped it right before the third started. But between Waterson and Harang and Pettis Ferguson, those were my two favorite fights on the card, on the pay-per-view side of things. But I have to say that I'm going to side with the Pettis and Ferguson fight. I hope that it happens again. I really do hope that they rematch that fight. Khabib, as predicted, gets Conor the fuck up out of here. I can't wait to see if Conor decides to try to rematch this. To me, that's where the money is. Conor did say that he said in the press that he wants to fight in Dublin. Honestly speaking, I think they're gonna use, if they rematch it, they're gonna use everything that happened after the fight to make Khabib have to fight wherever Conor wants to fight or do whatever with Conor. And that's another thing I don't like. Like, I understand he's the cash cow, but at the end of the day, Khabib was the champion. I don't think he was being treated as such. They was treating Conor like he was. And in this situation, again, that's why I'm so mad at Khabib. Because it's like, you gave them more ammo for them to fuck with you, man. And I think if a rematch does happen, I feel like they're going to try to use all of this to pay Khabib less money, to make Khabib have to do more of the promo obligations, to make Khabib actually have to fight at whatever weight class Conor wants to fight, and probably have to fight him in whatever country he feels like fighting. And I don't like that. I don't like that. But I feel like that's what's going to happen. So let's hope that the same way they washed away Conor's sins for all that shit that happened in Brooklyn, I hope they find a way to do it for Khabib. Hopefully nobody was seriously hurt. Like what happened in Brooklyn, people were seriously hurt. And hopefully Khabib gets his opportunity to come back out here and fight again. Because I want to see him fight again. And I want to see him fight Ferguson. I think that's the fight to make. But I wouldn't be mad at seeing a rematch with McGregor. Like I said, I just feel like the politics surrounding it is what's going to make that situation ugly and messed up, you know. I don't think that they already, unless you guys saw it, I don't think that they announced for the Madison Square Garden card. I don't think that they announced who the headline is going to be. I know they got Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier on there. That's a hell of a fight I'm looking forward to. Woodley. What's next for Woodley? And are we going to actually see Woodley finally in a bigger fight? Like, Woodley's last few fights been lackluster. I know he beat Till in good fashion in that last fight. That was a fight I thought was going to be extremely tough on him. He went in there and did what he had to do. I kind of want to see Woodley against one of the Diaz brothers. I feel like those two guys don't get enough respect in this sport in terms of the matchups, etc. Personally speaking, I know a lot of people want to see Woodley fight what's this little loudmouth dude? The champion what the fuck is his name? Excuse me, like I said, my allergies is all fucked up, but I can't think of his name right now. You guys know what I'm talking about. The little loudmouth always talking shit. And they were supposed to fight and then supposedly didn't. But I would like to see them fight Covington. Excuse me. Cody Covington. Like a piece of me wants to see them fight. But the most part, I'm like, nah, I don't want to see him fight. I feel like Covington just says whatever to get acknowledged. Smart move because you want to stand out amongst other fighters. But he had his chance to fight Woodley, and for whatever reason that fight didn't happen. But I always feel like that dude. Listen, he backed up his talk. You know, I gotta give him that much credit, but I do think he talks too much. And I'll say this: for a guy who went and called the cops when he said something slick to another MMA fighter who pressed him, and you went and called the cops and all that. Like, I don't respect that. But let's see what's next for Woodley and them. Let's see what's going on. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but you know they got Liddell and Tito Ortiz fighting again. I was somewhat happy to see Liddell back. I didn't want to see him fight Ortiz. I understand the history of it. He's beat Ortiz, I think, twice before. I don't see the point of them fighting again. I mean, I understand age-wise and such, it might make more sense, but still, if you Liddell, I'm like, yo, I think there's other guys you could have found that people would have been more interested in. That's just my take. I think it's next weekend. I'm not sure, but it's Fader versus Chael Sonnen. I love Chael Sonnen as a character. I like listening to his podcast and stuff like that. Chael Sonnen is a very funny guy, very smart guy too. Very smart, but he's funny. He talks a lot of shit. What can you say about Fader, man? Fader is the emperor. You know, Fader has a lot of history in the sport. I am looking forward to this fight, and it's part of a tournament. So, and that's on Bellator. So you guys check that out. Let's see what's popping. If you have not subscribed to this channel, now will be a great time to do so. Hit the alert bell. Hit the like button. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I know it's late in the night. Share it if you possibly can. I will greatly appreciate it. I'm hoping nobody is drinking and driving. Get home safe. Hopefully you are where you're going to stay for the night. And you are nice and safe. And you don't got to be on the road drinking and driving. Salute to everybody. Blessings to the family. And we'll catch you on the next one.